Hi, I'm John from Gentleman of Whiskey,
I'm Brandon.
and in this episode, we're talking about the 5 stages of being a whiskey enthusiast.
I have not bought too many bottles of whiskey.
He's in denial.
I might be. So here's the deal. Everybody has a whiskey journey, not to be cliche, but like everybody's at different places and everybody's gone through stages and we've all done these different things. Now, the caveat is if you're the I only drink Jim Beam guy or I only shoot Fireball guy, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about the people who have like gotten into whiskey and they've gotten lost in the rabbit hole. They've gone way deep and now they're into all these different things. They have too many bottles and they don't even know how they started. Like there are stages to this whiskey experience. So we're going to talk about those 5 stages today.
There are people in all kind of walks of enthusiasms here, like craft beer enthusiasts, tequila enthusiasts, rum enthusiasts, whiskey enthusiasts. And that's what we're trying to look at. We're trying to look at those people who have really, like he said, gone down the rabbit hole of being an enthusiast for the spirit.
It's a human thing to get into something and then go way too far, right? We all do it. So we've done it with whiskey and it's fun. And it's fun to talk about and it builds community. So we're going to talk about the 5 stages that we've seen. John, what's stage 1?
Okay, so stage 1 is the newbie. Are you new to being a primarily whiskey drinker? Have you ever been afraid to acknowledge that whiskey kind of burns? Have you ever decided not to post something on social media because you're worried that there will be an outcry against you? If so, you're probably a whiskey newbie. This is the first stage of being into whiskey, and perhaps the most important, the newbie phase, is where you kind of define what you are going to be as a whiskey enthusiast. So if you are afraid to post those things, if you are, afraid to have your opinions, that's probably going to make you jaded as a whiskey enthusiast in the future.
Yeah, and so maybe you're in a group, maybe you're trying lots of different things, and you're afraid to be the person that shares like, oh, I got this new thing that I'm trying, or this is what I thought of it, blah, blah, blah. Like that beginner stage. I remember that stage. I remember how it felt to feel like, hey, I'm excited that I got a new bottle and I'm trying it, but I'm afraid of what everybody else is going to think when I post it, or like, oh, it's a bottle that everybody else has had. It's too basic. It's too lame. It's not allocated. It's not special, whatever, right?
Yeah, and I think that, as you're like, oh, I'm really excited to get my first bottle of Blanton's. People are going to drag you for having that experience, but it is fine. It is absolutely cool to be new to the enthusiasm, and it's great to be excited about the things that you get. Do not let other people tell you how to feel about things.
Oh, 100%. Your whiskey journey is yours. You need to go on it just like everybody else has, just like I have, just like John has. And that's important. So, John, tell us about stage 2. Try everything.
Are you constantly trying new bottles just because they're new? Are you watching all kinds of YouTube content, like us, to find new things to hunt? Do you buy something new every time you're at the liquor store? If so, you're probably in the try everything phase. Things that you've never had, whether it be an Old Grandad Bonded or a Knob Creek, you're buying something different that you've never had every time you're at a bar or a liquor store. So when you're in this stage, it is really important not just to try things, but to learn about them. Learn mash bills, learn distilleries. If it's Four Roses, there's 5 different yeast strains and
I think
all
there's
this
10
stuff.
yeast strains.
No, there's 5 yeast strains, there's 2 mash bills.
Yeah.
So there's 10 recipes.
5 times 2
5
is
times
10.
2 is 10. Yes.
Basic math. There's a great example, right?
Right. So what you learn in this stage, right, in the try everything stage, what you learn about the whiskey will also help you define what you like.
Oh, 100%. I remember the stage vividly. I love this stage. I remember the first time I bought Knob Creek 9.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my gosh, this is the Knob Creek product that we had at the tasting, blah, blah, blah. I liked it. Now it's in my collection. My collection was like 5 bottles maybe.
Yeah.
But it was exciting. It's a fun stage. You try everything. You go to the liquor store and you're like, there's Knob Creek, there's Maker's Mark, there's Jack Daniels, and you just can go right down the line and try all this different stuff. It's super fun.
And it's honestly cooler to go to the liquor store in that phase because you're not just walking in and going, oh man, there's nothing I'm interested in. I'm just going to walk right back out.
Yeah.
So, stage 3.
Stage 3.
Stage 3 is the damn this shit is expensive phase.
This is where the gets serious.
Do you commonly balk at prices when you're looking at whiskey? Do you make comments like, Angel's Envy is overpriced?
Angel's Envy is overpriced.
Do you refuse to buy standard bottles unless they're on sale?
Mhm.
If so, you're probably in the damn this shit is expensive phase. Some key elements of this phase, right, is you have tried everything or you've tried many things. You are now at the point where you have tons of bottles, and some of them you're just not going to drink. You're probably no longer buying things that you've seen get a bad YouTube review, or that you've learned that you don't like the distillery, or the mash bill. Maybe you don't like high rye mash bills if you're like me. You've learned these things, and you're actively staying away from them. That's what differentiates you from the try everything phase. You've learned what you like, at least to an extent. You're willing to hone in on that.
Well, so here's what happens, right? So you
Mhm.
go through the try everything phase and you try everything.
Yep.
And then you start to get like a little bit of a sense of what you like. And then you start buying more of that. And then you start buying like variations of like that distillery or that brand or that company more than the base offerings. And then you realize it is expensive. This shit is expensive. It's not cheap. It's not a cheap hobby. I'm in on this whiskey thing, but I have to be intentional. Even to the point of like last year, I knew multiple times last year I was going to go out of state. I set money aside so that when I was out of state, I could buy the bottles that I found that I can't get in PA
Mhm.
that I wanted and not feel bad because it is expensive. It's
Yep.
not cheap. It's not a cheap hobby. Like any sport, I feel like male hobbies are not cheap. Cigars are not cheap. Whiskey's not cheap. Paintball, snowboarding.
Disc golf's not that expensive.
Disc golf is the only cheap-ish, unless you get like super sucked into like new discs all the time, right? This is a rabbit hole we don't need to go down. We're getting sucked into a rabbit hole inside of the rabbit hole.
The damn this shit is expensive phase kind of plays in with the next phase, which is I know my palate.
Hmm?
So, do you know a lot about mash bills, distilleries, finishes, and entry proofs? Do you have a strong opinion on which MGP mash bill you like? Do you ever turn down a new pour because you're pretty sure you won't like it? If so, you're in the I know my palate stage. You know what you like and you stick to your lane. You'll pass up on an allocated bottle sometimes if it's something that you don't think you'll like. You'll only pick it up if it's a good price.
I think the stages build on each other. So you go through, try everything, right?
Yep.
Then you get a little more like, I kind of know what I like. So then you go, damn, the shit's expensive because now you're buying what you like, right?
Right.
You know your palate, so you know what to buy. But then you're realizing how expensive it is to buy the things that you like because your palate's starting to develop and be more sophisticated.
Yep.
And so you're like, wow, I really do like MGP. Or I love Jack Daniels. And Jack Daniels single barrel proofs are amazing. And you realize, wow, they're phenomenal. They're $70 every single time you buy one, right?
Yep.
Or Elijah Craig, like barrel proofs are expensive, or private barrels are even more expensive.
Yeah.
But you love Heaven Hill's profile and you don't love Jim Beam's profile. So like you get caught in all this shit essentially, right? And basically you're just spending money on corn juice that you're eventually going to drink with your friends.
Yeah. There's a few key tells that you are not in the damn this shit's expensive phase. You're in the I know my palate phase. So how you treat shelf bottles.
So wait a minute. Define shelf bottle.
Anything that is normally on the shelf. You can go to any liquor store and probably find this bottle. To some people, Buffalo Trace is a shelf bottle. Some people, Weller Antique is a shelf bottle. I want to live there, by the way.
You don't want to live in Ohio.
Yeah, you're right. So you've got
Okay.
Maker's 46, Maker's Cast Strength.
Sure.
You know, Knob Creek 9,
Knob Creek
Jack
12.
Daniels Single
Knob
Barrel
Creek
Proof.
12's Knob Creek 12 is a shelf bottle.
Sure. You will only buy those in the I Know My Palate under 3 reasons. Number 1, it's on sale.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2, you're having company over and you know they won't appreciate the good stuff. Or 3, you need a well whiskey for cocktails, or you just need it because you intend to drink a lot and you don't want to drink all the good stuff. One of the things that I see a lot with people who are in this stage is that you need to understand that your opinion on whiskey is just that. Everybody has a different opinion on whiskey. It is an opinion. It is subjective. It is not objective. I try to remind myself all the time that even though I don't like something, somebody else loves that bottle. Somebody else has that bottle be their favorite bottle. You need to remember that their experience is different than your experience. Brandon's experience is very different than my experience. Even though you know your palate, you need to respect other people's palates.
That's huge in tasting groups. It's huge in social media groups. It's huge, like if you're sharing your opinion online, or if you're just going to a friend's house and like you're trying something that they really, really like and they want to share with you, and you think it's dog shit. That has happened to me where like I tasted something, I was like, bro, this is terrible. But I'm not gonna be like a jerk about it. I'll try to say like, here's what I think about it. Like this is what I'm getting. I'm getting this. I'm getting this. I'm getting this. These aren't the things in a profile that I gravitate towards that I really like. But it's okay that my friend, who spent $80 to $150 on this bottle loves it.
And maybe your friend who spent $80 to $100 on the bottle doesn't love it, and that's fine. I think
Sure.
this, though, ties into your newbie stage, right?
Yeah.
So if you get hazed a lot when you are a newbie, you're probably going to do a lot of hazing when you're in the I Know My Palate stage.
Yeah.
So that's why it's so important to understand that your opinion is objective.
But it's also important to like own what you like.
Yep.
You like what you like.
And
That's
your
great.
palate probably will change over time.
Oh, my palate has changed so much over time.
Yep.
And that's what's so fun about it, right? And I've only been in this a couple years. Give it 7 years or 10 years, and like it could change more.
Saying that, though, doesn't necessarily mean everyone's palate is going to change. I think there's this stigma around Blanton's especially that every new whiskey drinker is just going to outgrow it at some point. Blanton's exists for a reason. There are people who truly, honestly enjoy it.
Now,
Yep.
Blanton's straight out of the barrel or whatever it is, that's a different animal.
Okay, so the fifth and final stage, Blissful Acceptance. So do you mostly drink Old Forester 1910 or 1920, Wild Turkey Rare Breed, and Jack Daniel's Single Barrel Proof?
Yes.
Do you share any bottle you have with company,
No.
regardless of their knowledge or experience? Do you bring allocated bottles as gifts to special occasions? If so, you're probably in the Blissful Acceptance stage. You have had quite a bit of time building your collection, building your whiskey palate, and now you're to the point where you are zen with everything around you.
Mm-hmm.
You are okay with giving these things as gifts. You're okay with giving people things that they've never tried before because you're trying to help them get to their newbie stage or get to their try everything stage. Even if they may not appreciate it, you are willing to help them get there. I am not always in this stage. I think we both bounce between some stages. I go between I Know My Palate and Blissful Acceptance, but there are some people who have really helped out our channel and me specifically who are definitely where I based the Blissful Acceptance on.
Oh, 100%.
You guys know who you are. Brantley Hamby is for sure one of them. Dave Warmingham's one of them.
Yeah, Vintran's probably another
Yep.
one. Like just phenomenal guys who
Yep.
are willing to share insane things with people for the experience because they love whiskey and they know other people love whiskey. And also they've gotten past that point of like, oh, they know their palate. Damn, this shit's expensive. They're past those phases where they're like, hey, like I can share the amazing bottles, all the stuff they have in their collections. They've also been at it way longer than us too.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking like 10 plus years of like whiskey hunting, whiskey collecting, whiskey enthusiasm.
In the Blissful Acceptance stage, you are willing to retry other things. Like things that you have had in the past and that you don't necessarily know that you like.
Yeah. Or you thought you didn't like.
Right.
Yeah.
You are willing to retry those. You'll take any pour from anyone.
I have had those moments at places where I was like, you know what? I'll try that. Give me a small pour. Or I'll pour myself a smaller pour,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And I'll try it. I'll just try to give the most honest, like, oh, these are the flavors that I get.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Like, this is interesting. This is an interesting pour. Thank you for sharing it. Like,
Mhm.
because I don't want to hurt people's feelings
Right.
just because I don't care for something that maybe they're really excited about or they like and
Yeah.
they're willing to share with
Mhm.
me, which is cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so those are our 5 stages. What stage do you think you're in? We bounce between stages ourselves.
Yeah.
What stages do you think need to be added? What stages do you not agree with? Basically, we'd love for you to comment. We'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, guys, let us know in the comments. What stage are you in? Are you in between stages? Did we miss stages? Did we nail these 100%? Are you past all these stages? Like, do you just have all the allocated and you just give it away because you have so much of it?
Do you have
Like-
complete whiskey enlightenment?
Oh, whiskey transcendence.
Ooh, transcendence.
Let us know in the comments.
Mhm.
Like, comment, and share. Check out our other videos. Thank you for watching. We're Gentlemen of Whiskey.
Probably subscribe too.
Yeah, definitely subscribe.
Please.
It costs you nothing, and it helps us.
It helps us
Okay.
feel better about making these videos, if
Yep.
anything else. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you next time. Cheers.
Cheers. Hold on.
Shake my face out.
Freaking eyes like watering like crazy.
That's fine.
Allergies are fucking me up.
Allergies.
Allergies are messing with me.
Allergies suck.
Allergies suck. Hate them.